Just in case you missed it, it's the top 5 sports talkers of the day. Now, it's time for Dan Barrero's Top 5 at 5. Brought to you by Gutter Helmet of Minnesota. Never clean your gutters again. Learn more at gutterhelmetmn.com.
I forgot to say, somebody had texted much earlier. They were worried they were still blocked, or they had been blocked, and they hadn't been blocked. And I forgot to tell them they hadn't been blocked. So unfortunately, we got too many texts for me to go back and find. So just assume if you asked today that whether you were blocked, you know who you are. You're not blocked, because if you had been blocked, I wouldn't have been able to see the text that you offered up. We get these like 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah, at least.
Where people are still agonizing over, they either feel like they should never have been blocked, or they feel like, well, maybe I shouldn't have said what I said, but will you give me another chance? And we try to do that. And, you know, a lot of you are blocked without knowing you're blocked, which is probably healthier for everybody, where you still get the satisfaction of ripping the crap out of us.
Yep.
And we have the satisfaction of not necessarily having to digest it, because I get enough of those as it is. But go ahead.
That's why I love Mute Monday on X. Mute Monday is one of my favorite days.
Yeah.
Now, this week, Mute Monday is spilled into Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's just Mute Month.
Yeah, Mute Month.
January
almost
might be the Mute Month.
That's correct.
Quick follow-up on this, though. Is it better? Is it almost worse, though, because the person is assuming that they might be blocked because they haven't been engaged with off of their text?
Yeah.
So is it better? Is it worse in a way to go, man, I'm not blocked. Maybe I'm just not clever. Maybe they just don't like my text messages.
So we'd be better off saying you are blocked, so then they can still feel like the messages they are offering are actually worthy.
Yes, or just not saying anything.
Yeah.
And then assuming.
It's all very confusing.
Because the other secret, though, too, of the inbox is, and we're self-deprecating to a fault, as we know, but we do get a lot of text messages.
We do.
There's some that you just don't see because of the deluge.
That's also true.
And it's not
that
personal. It doesn't mean you're not funny. It doesn't mean that you're blocked. It just means we get a lot of them.
It might mean you're not funny.
It could, but it doesn't have to.
It might mean that your observation makes no sense, but it doesn't necessarily mean that. That's correct.
All right.
True. Anyway, you were saying?
Let's talk Minnesota Wild. Tough one last night. 6-1, I think, was the score. It was 2-1, and then it was 3-1. And before you even finished the sentence, it was 4-1, I believe. It was 2 goals back-to-back. I watched them. I don't remember if it went 3-1 or 4-1. It was bad. Wild were booed off the ice repeatedly. A great wall of St. Paul crumbling. Mr. Gorbachev. It's too bad. They get crushed last night at home by the Peg, and now they're going to have to go on a 3-game road trip without a couple of players. We knew about Broads. Brodin is out for a while, might even miss the Olympics, which would be a total L. I feel bad about that. But Matt Boldy, who is tied for 3rd in the National Hockey League with 27 goals, is now on IR. That's short for injured reserve, a lower body injury. He will have to miss at least the team's upcoming 3-game road trip to Buffalo, who's red hot, reading from Russo's story, Toronto and Montreal. Boldy will also miss the first game back when we come back home to Grand Casino against the Detroit Red Wings. He played a lot last night. No one really knows when exactly he got hurt. Joel Eriksson Ek is also on injured reserve with a lower body injury. That is retroactive to last Thursday. So whenever he's healthy, he can come back. But he's missed the last 3 games, and the Wild have not won any of those games. They got 1 point in those 3 games.
And now did you mention we're starting I think a 3-game road trip?
Yep.
Against the Red Hot Buffalo. I think against the Sabres first. So you either dig deep or you don't. I mean, this is not an encouraging stretch after what felt like a really long, extended honeymoon period since the big trade, to the point where we were getting cocky enough saying that there's got to be another trade coming. We're so good already. We got to get one more piece, and then we're going to be the team to beat, maybe outside of the Lanch. So it's all about reversing things as quickly as possible, not letting it fester, and not letting it, become. Because wasn't it about this time last year we started fading?
Sounds about right.
I think it was, wasn't it? Or maybe it was a little earlier. I don't know. But I know we got a lot of equity right now in terms of standings, in terms of the point total. But I don't think we want to mess around. I think we want to continue to feel really good about ourselves. And it'd be nice to do that with how many? Is it 10 days before we
10 games.
10 games.
Feb 4 is our last game.
Then that's a good stretch. Make it a good 10 games to feel better about yourselves going into the big Olympic break.
Your Minnesota Timberwolves are back in action tonight, a game you will hear right here on the Fan.
Well, somebody is saying, is it possible this is a conspiracy theory that's being offered? We actually are tanking for a lower position that actually maybe gives us a better chance to advance in the playoffs because of the stupid playoff format. I don't know. That's a question I'm sure Billy Guerin would love for me to ask next time we have him on.
Did he ever text you back? Have you texted him yet?
I haven't. I should text. I still haven't.
I'm trying to think. I'm looking here.
We should probably try to have him on next week regardless.
Yeah. So we would want to be the wild card, right? So we would have to play.
Yes. Because we talked about with Louie that somebody had written, some hockey big shot had basically said, this is another season where the playoff format just does not make any sense in that why do we overthink it in hockey? Why not just go conference 1 versus 1-8? Just seed 1-8.
Yeah.
Stop worrying so much about these divisional rivalries. And I tend to think that's true too. Because do the NFL playoffs lose anything if they're not immediately, you're not playing teams from another division? It enhances. It's good when it happens, but it's not a requirement. It's not like, I'm not going to pay any attention to the playoffs now because I want to see these rivalries within the division sustained. What people love now about the NFL schedule is late in the season, teams play within the division. That's what stokes the rivalry talk. That has to do then with how you finish in the standings. That to me is more important. The notion that we can't just go pure 1-8 Eastern Conference, Western Conference makes no sense to me.
And the place where rivalries are really formed and built and born, the postseason. Yes. The postseason. There's in these. We just talked about how long the regular season is. The postseason is where you learn to hate other teams.
Should be.
We still hate, Colorado from the postseasons we played them and beat them in 7. They beat us a couple of times.
Correct.
Vancouver going all the way back to 2003, right? Like that's where it was a weird decision because rivalries are about the postseason. Do we care about the Wolves-Denver rivalry because they're in the same division? No, we care about it because of the postseason. Same with Oklahoma City, right? And you can't call that a rivalry. They've beaten us, but I think you get my point.
Yes.
So anyway, I'm trying to figure out something pithy because we'd really have to fall because we're 9 points clear of the wild card teams, Utah and San Jose. In fact, 10 for San Jose.
That would have to be a hell of a tank.
Yeah. It'd be like a meltdown for the Mammoth. Yeah. And then I think we'd play Vegas.
Right.
So anyway, something to think about. Wolves are back in action tonight, a game you can hear right here on the Fan. Rudy Gobert's back after his recent suspension, but Anthony Edwards will sit a second consecutive game with the right foot injury maintenance. It's a later game tonight because it is on national television. The Wolves are very solidly in the 4 spot right now. They're 2 games ahead of the Los Angeles Lakers of Anaheim with a 27-14 record and a game back of Denver and San Antonio Davy. It's an 8:30 tip tonight, pregame show at 8:15. Don't believe there's local television at all, so you will get Alan Horton tonight on the radio broadcast, and he will sound like a radio broadcaster because it's not a simulcast. It's just Alan.
That's okay.
So there we go.
Nothing wrong with that. That's the second national game tonight, I think. So what network is it tonight?
ESPN.
It is ESPN tonight. Oh, that's unfortunate. But we are the second game, as you said, right?
Yes.
I got some more NBA nuggets a little bit later, but I'll save them.
So let's straddle. Let's do that because we got Lavelle at 5:30. The Fan wants to give you a shot to win bonus bucks. It is our national cash contest. Final keyword of the week is credit. Go to KFAN.com and enter the keyword credit.
We'll get in a quick segment of The Rich Get Richer during the next segment, and then we'll prepare for Lavelle at 5:30.
Bonus Bucks is back on the Fan. We have 9 chances for you to win $1,000 every weekday, every hour from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. We just gave the last one of the week. To enter the keywords and learn more, head to KFAN.com.
I think I opened a can of worms. Kevin in Eden Prairie, I don't believe I've said anything in poor taste with my messages. I've just used a word that signals I want to be blocked. I absolutely do not want to be blocked at all. Please release whatever chains are binding me that I myself created with my poor choice of vocabulary. I love the fan. I don't get to listen to all the shows live as much as I would, but it's preset number 1 in my car.
Nice.
And on my totally free iHeartRadio app. I wish you all well. Most of the guy that talked back about the taillights not turning on with parking lights, I may not be the only one. Thanks for all the entertainment. I mean, that's going really deep.
Yeah, it's a heavy burden.
That's going really deep. And obviously, Kevin, you're not blocked because I'm reading the text, correct? Doesn't that prove it?
It does. It does. So congrats to Kevin. I wonder what the word was. Did he say what the word was?
No, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Afraid to
definitely
ask.
don't want to say it or ask.
Under the Department of the Rich Get Richer.
Is this Dodgers related?
Yeah.
I thought about throwing this in top 5 if we had time, yeah.
Kyle Tucker,
He's pretty good.
awfully good player, agrees to terms with the Dodgers for, wait for it, 4 years, $240 million, setting an MLB record for average annual value at $57.1 million.
And with that, I need to go. I do appreciate your call.
And you could argue in making this move, well, to use the Dodgers, or I should say the LA Times description, they have plugged the only hole in the lineup with not just another, okay player, but a superstar. And there are people who, so who was the quote I saw from earlier today basically saying they're already the best team in baseball. Now they might be an all-time great baseball team on the basis of this decision.
They've won the last 2 World Series, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Jeff Passan, fans feel like this game is unfair.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Plaschke has retorted, the legendary Los Angeles Times columnist.
Yep.
So what? Who cares? If 3 consecutive titles blows up the game, so be it. The Dodgers' only responsibility is to their fans, and they have more than fulfilled their civic duty. And that's all that matters. Is it good for the game? Probably not. Am I going to get mad at the Dodgers for taking full advantage of what financial, I guess you could say, advantages they have? I have a hard time doing that. I really do. And here's the thing. Baseball has always been viewed as the one game that, because of the variables in the postseason, often the best team doesn't win. More often than in the other sports, right? And to that extent, to me, that would be a testament to what the Dodgers still have managed to do in ridiculous fashion. And you could say, well, no one's quite had this assembly of talent. And then you've got the possibility that you have on your team in his prime the best player in the history of baseball. That's a wild card that not every great team has had in the past. Ohtani is, we'll all agree, absurd.
Yes.
Correct? He's unprecedented, except for maybe Babe Ruth.
On the mound and at the plate. Not to be outdone, I could have put this in the top 5 as well. The Minnesota Twins signed veteran catcher Victor Caratini to a 2-year contract today.
How much?
Pending a physical. I don't have that. I did look. I'm sure somebody could find it. He hit .259 last year, slugging, I think, .324, 12 dongs. He will split duties with Ryan Jeffers, who has 1 year left on his contract here. And then maybe Caratini takes the plate for good after that.
What does our guy say? What does Gleeman say about it?
Gleeman?
Gleeman's very excited about our what do you call the minor league players we have? Our minor league system.
The farm system?
Farm system. He thinks it's great. The Dodgers' estimated competitive tax payroll of $402.5 million. Competitive tax payroll of $402.5 million is more than the combined spending of the A's, the Tampa Bay Rays, the Cleveland Guardians, and the Miami Marlins.
It's crazy.
Now, you can't say, when you put it in those terms, like, that's not good long term for the competitive well-being of the game of baseball, and there might be some truth to that, but it was definitely worthy of at least a note, shall we say.
So Gleeman...
Well, and here's the other key that I think, talked about before that kind of allows them to do what they're doing. The Ohtani deal, 10 years, $700 million. That was 2 years ago, remember?
Yeah, is this the deferred money?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's taking home, he agreed to take home $2 million a year and defer the remaining $68 million, which, as they point out in this LA Times piece, covers Tucker's salary and then some.
Smart business.
For the record, their Time Warner cable deal, it's now Spectrum, that's their regional TV deal. We can't ignore this. 25 years, $8.35 billion.
Are you nuts?
What's $8.35 billion divided by 25?
Let me get
Can you do enough zeros to get to the billion?
First of all, let's get,
So
billion is 9, right? 9 zeros.
Well, why don't you just make it easy? Just go to 9 billion.
Okay.
Then you don't have to worry about the 0.35. So 9 billion. Well, no, that's not 9. No, that's more than 9. A million's 9 zeros. A billion's more than that.
No, 1,000,006 zeros.
No, it's not.
Don't do this. Don't do this. Because now I don't even know what I did.
I'll start over.
I can't.
Here, you want me to do it? Here, I'm going to do it.
All right, divided by 25.
Can you do it? You got something?
Is that 360 million? Yeah.
360 million a year?
Well, 9 billion. You said 9 billion, right?
I said, 8.35 billion. We're rounding up a little bit.
Yeah. And then you said divided by 25?
Correct.
I think it's 360 million.
That's a bit more, I think, than the Twins get. We will have to acknowledge, even those of us who've mocked and ridiculed the Twins' approach financially would say there might be a bit of a gap.
A little bit.
Between those two deals.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
Because actually, we don't even know what the Twins are getting now, right? Because they won't tell us. Which could mean it's paltry, but it could mean it's actually a little bit more than paltry, but they don't even want to acknowledge it. Right? We still don't know.
No.
We've asked Gleeman this. I don't think he knows. Does he?
Yeah, I mean, at the time, the one was like, I thought between like 40 and 50.
Well, in the salad days,
old
yes,
days.
That's correct. Yeah. It was. I think it was $50 million.
Gleeman did, by the way, because he knows his team, the team that he covers.
Mm-hmm.
At the beginning of the offseason, this is how he hit it. At the beginning of the offseason, I wrote about 10 inexpensive free agent hitters the Twins should target. And Josh Bell, who they signed, first baseman, and Victor Caratini were number 1 and number 2. So credit to our new GM and Falvey, new president guy, saying,
you know what?
Gleeman was on it.
We finally got a poll ad who understands it, running the show. Right?
Is it Tom now?
Is this the second or third generation poll ad?
Third.
This would be third, right?
Yeah, it's the second of the third generation.
That's
run
it. Yeah, that's correct.
And it's Tom, right? I'm pretty sure it's Tom.
That's Tom this time.
Yeah, T-Po.
Number 1 rated farm system, though, in all of Major League Baseball belongs to?
Because you're bringing it up, I'm going to say Chicago Cubs.
L.A. Dodgers.
Oh, come on. Really?
Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
You can't, I mean, it's over.
And they have, like, the coolest ballpark.
They do. Chavez Ravine continues to be cool.
And everybody just likes to say Chavez Ravine.
And Magic Johnson's a part of it
He
now.
is.
All the beautiful people are in there. It's an empire. Again, I can't get mad at a franchise that maximizes on all its advantages to the degree they have. I just can't. I'll admit it's not healthy for the game. In fact, maybe that's something we can talk about with Lavelle. 1 million is 6 zeros.
Yeah.
You're right. So,
which is where you tried to trip me up.
Billion would be 9 zeros.
Yes.
Correct? So you did have it right.
Yes.
Okay. Just want to be sure. Maybe I was the one getting confused. I'm not sure.
It's always worth double and triple checking what we come up with to each other.
Yes. Oh,
live on the air.
When we're doing it with each other, that's for sure. In terms of math, it's not good. All right. We'll get to Lavelle. If you have questions for him on anything, Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line is 64686. By the way, I saw something on ESPN next week. NBA Rivals Week, and it's us versus the Warriors. Are the Warriors one of our rivals? Is that what I saw? Are we a rival, the Golden State Warriors?
If that's what they're calling, I know we're playing them next Saturday and next Monday
maybe
here.
They're just They're just sort of hoping and wishing because they had no choice and they wanted that was the bit. Rivals week. I don't think we're their goal. I don't think Golden State looks upon us as their rival.
No, they do not.
In any way, shape, or form. I mean, we beat them in the playoffs this last year. We might not have if Steph Curry hadn't gotten hurt.
You're right. Game 1, I was there. I was there for a lot of those games.
Changed everything.
It sure did.
That's for sure. All right, let's get to Lavelle. And as I mentioned, we'll include your questions and comments on a absolutely gorgeous Friday evening here in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul. I need help from the audience here. Sometimes our audience does some of our best and most intrepid research. It's driving me a little bit insane today. There are a million stats that have attempted to put in perspective the Bears' ability to come from behind. And I've seen most of them. They were established about, I think, one of 4 teams in playoff history to come back from a deficit of 15 points or more in the fourth quarter. They're one of very few teams, I think, that scored as many as 25 points in a single quarter. But there was another one that compared their ability to come back in certain situations. I don't know if it was 2 minutes to go or more. Compared to their record in those games, compared to the record of the rest of the league. And I cannot for the life of me. I thought I'd saved it. I thought I bookmarked it. And it stunned me, but I cannot find it. So if you find it, I'll give you full credit for it via the Bradshaw and Bryant inbox, KFAN. I should say 64686, the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line. So hopefully we can get some help from someone there. We already have questions coming in for our next guest, Lavelle Neal III, including this one from Rochester, Clayton. Dan, does Scooter think the Twins offered Tucker a 3-year deal, but they took the silver because the Dodgers offered 4?
Funny. No, I don't think
That's
the
a pretty
Twins.
good line.
I don't even think the Twins talked to Tucker's next door neighbor's agent. I don't even know if they have Tucker's agent's number. I don't even know if I doubt seriously that they even asked about him. They probably haven't asked about a lot of free agents this offseason, which is reflected in their activity when Josh Bell was your major signing.
Well, you're all excited about him. You've basically made it sound like he's changed everything. The team's changed everything with that acquisition.
Well, all I pointed out was that the Twins almost swore that the Twins' first base situation was so horse bleep that even signing someone like Josh Bell, who I believe OPS isn't even over 780, is an upgrade over what they endured last year with Ty France and then Cody Clemens and a little bit of Edouard Julien. So that's all I was pointing out, is that they have not had production at first base since the days of Miguel Sano. And so Sano now currently is with the Tunichi Dragons of the Japanese league. So it's kind of embarrassing. But I was kind of surprised how many teams don't have a lot of production at first base. I discovered in my little exercise while writing that 3-2 pitch piece. So, Kyle Tucker would look great in the Twins uniform. But, he went to an organization that has enough money to buy its own island in the Caribbean right now.
So, what is let's leave the Twins out of this, because I don't want to enable the Twins regarding the approach they've tended to take. Let's just talk specifically about the Dodgers and what they represent. We did the math. It looks like on their regional TV deal, they get upwards of $330 to $340 million a year. They've got currently a 25-year deal. Okay. So I would give them credit for maximizing on every advantage they have built in. They have not sat on that advantage. I can never get mad at a team for maximizing on the advantages it has. The question is, leave the Twins out of it. The question is whether there's anything baseball can reasonably do about, in this case, one team coming off 2 World Series, presumably adding a superstar to the only, well, if you want to call it a hole they might have had in their lineup, that can somehow send a different message to the rest of baseball? Or is it just you got to just accept it and deal with it, and there's not much you can do about it? Is there a way out of the box?
Yeah. It's like we want chaos. Like we want chaos in the NCAA about how they're allowing, rampant, transfer portal NIL stuff to go out of control. We want chaos in Major League Baseball to force it to, get its finances in order. And it's not all on, the Players Association agreeing to a salary cap. The owners have to get amongst themselves and clean up their mess, their side of this mess as well. I think everybody is expected a work stoppage after 2026, and the owners are going to press for a salary cap, but they have to have a talk amongst themselves. And the smaller market teams, the teams, that are only getting, between 50 and 75 million a year from their television deals, are looking at, the Dodgers and the Yankees and probably the Red Sox and the Phillies have probably got nice television contracts that help fund their payroll. And the one thing that they can do right off the bat is have all the television revenue dumped in one pot and spread and divided equally. That's not done. I believe it's roughly 40% is shared right now among owners. And I know there were discussions about a year ago about increasing that percentage. I think they should push it as close to 100% as possible.
Yeah.
That could actually act as a little bit of a drag on salaries. They may want to toughen this luxury tax because now teams aren't giving a damn about going over and getting into the bad part of the luxury tax. The Dodgers are going to have a taxable payroll of $410 million this year, which is mind-boggling just for a payroll. And they can handle it, with the TV revenue and, the use of the deferred money. And they're getting some of these some of these guys are agreeing to deferred contracts without interest, which, that has gotten baseball into trouble in the past when there's been interest tacked on to deferred money. But in this case, you got some guys not getting a percentage on top of that, which I guess is okay. But the league may want to look at how that mechanism is being exploited by the Dodgers and see if that needs to be a loophole that needs to be closed up, And then once you do everything on your end, then you can turn to the Players Association and say, look, I know you guys don't trust us. We like to think this can be a partnership, but we're on this together. We just took care of our end. Now we need more cost certainty. Do you see franchise values in other sports? They're higher than ours. You know why? Most of those other leagues have salary caps. NBA has the first and second apron. Football has a cap. Hockey has a cap. So, and their franchise values have been appreciating more quickly than baseball's has. Look how fast the Wolves' value went up from the time Glenn Taylor agreed to the layaway plan with A-Rod and Laurie, and the value of what it was when it was time to finish up the deal. It has doubled. That's not happening in baseball. And owners, I've read there's stories online about this. Owners are looking at that going, this is why we need a salary cap. And then once values can go up, then they can do some other things. And maybe salaries can make a jump as well. So both sides, need to be honest with the other side. But the owners could do some stuff on their side, man, instead of just saying the players have to give in.
I sent out the breaking news sounder because as you were speaking, pontificating about the Dodgers, I think I found one or two versions of the stat I was looking for. I'm going to run these by you because you may know them. I have two versions of what each appears to be an astounding stat that reflects the historic nature of what your favorite football team, the Bears, have done late in games. So you tell me which of these sounds more accurate. One of them reads like this. The Bears, when they are down 19 or more points with 5 minutes to go in the game, are 3-3 this year. Other teams, the rest of the league, is 3-158. Now,
that's crazy.
That is crazy. Now, I think that's the one I remember. Now, there's a different version of it, so I don't know which is accurate, because this version, this is via a texter doing research, that the Bears have been down, we know, they won 7 games being down in the final 2 minutes, but the stat you want is that the Bears are 3-3 in games down by 10 or more with less than 5 minutes left in the game. So they're saying 10 or more, not 19 or more. And the rest of the league in that same situation is 3-151. I don't know which is accurate, but they're both stunning and pretty historic regarding what this team is doing in a game that is just not supposed to allow these sorts of comebacks to keep happening.
Yeah, and you look at Caleb Williams' fourth quarter passer rating, which I believe was like 120-something, and that kind of ties into that as well. You think about the late turnovers they've gotten, and like the Malik Willis fumble against the Packers, and the onside kick, converting the onside kicks, and the craziness in the Cincinnati Bengals game. And it's been mind-boggling that it happens again and again and again. There is now a Caleb Williams Iceman statue somewhere in downtown Chicago. I don't know if it's outside Soldier Field or if it's over by Buckingham Fountain or in Grant Park somewhere. It's but there's an Iceman statue for which is kind of paying homage to a man who has really stepped up his game here, especially in the second half of the season. But just the multiple comebacks while being down and have everything going right for them from an execution standpoint, to protecting the ball, to getting timely turnovers, getting kicks where you needed it, other teams falling apart late. It's just all you can't. They've had multiple story beginnings to these games, and you keep thinking that they've run out of all the luck that they could possibly get, and then here comes something else again. It's been remarkable.
Well, that's the question. The question is, have we reached a point, given the opponent this week, that if they play with fire this week, it ends? It's what you want to say, because you say, well, you can't keep doing this. No one believes in your right mind that you could be a really good team and only play one quarter. Is this the week where to win they have to play the whole way? Or do you say, at this point, all bets are off about what this team is capable of doing?
I think there's a path there. I'm not saying the Bears are going to win Sunday, but I think there's a path for them to win. But it requires them to get off to a better start offensively than they've had over the last month or so. They've been terrible in the first quarter. I think last week against the Packers, they kicked a field goal in the first quarter. I think that's the first time they scored in the opening quarter in like 4 games or something like that. They're going to pay a heavy price if they get off to a sluggish start against the Rams, because they're going to have to score points to win. Because Matt Stafford with Puka Nacua and what's his name? Adams. What's his name?
Oh, Davante Adams. Yeah,
Davante Adams.
Yeah,
thank you. I don't know why it slipped my mind. With those two guys can each go over 150 yards.
Yes, they can.
Against the Bears. But I will say this: the offensive line's going to have its best game of the year. In terms of there's running opportunities against the Rams. They've given up. I think they gave up 20 yards rushing a couple weeks ago. They gave up 170 to the Panthers, I think. You can move the ball on the ground, and the Bears have had a good running game for most of the year. It's kind of sputtered the last 2 games, Week 18 against the Lions, and it wasn't that spectacular against the Packers. So they're going to have to scheme up some runs here, just for the sake of 1, ball control, and 2, getting to the second level of that Rams defense. 2, they've got to pass protect their asses off from that defensive line, because all the money is in the Rams' defensive line. You look at that secondary, there's a couple undrafted free agents and some low-round picks and not really impressive players. And so if you get time to throw, you can pick these guys apart a little bit and have success that way. So the Bears' offensive line, from run blocking and pass protecting, they need a complete game on Sunday to give themselves a chance. So the Rams special teams unit has been terrible. Sean McVay fired his special teams coach, I believe, in the middle of December. Their punter is not that great. So there's a belief there that if special teams in these big games can kind of turn the tide, the Bears could have an advantage there. But we have to see the punter. You know, I don't know what number the Rams punter wears. I'd like to find out on Sunday. I'd like to see him on the field. You know, I think the way the Bears defense operates, you would think that the over-under on the times that the Rams would punt would be in Vegas probably 1.5 times, and that's scary. So they got to sustain some offense. They got to figure out a way to just get a couple stops and get a chance to return a punt where the Rams could be vulnerable. There's a path for the Bears to win. It's not a clear path, but there's a path. Now, as far as the cold, Matt Stafford's going to take a page out of the Tom Brady manual of survival. Let's start again. Tom Brady survival manual. That's better. And he's going to wear a scuba diving suit under his uniform. Apparently that keeps people warm. And Brady found out about that when he was with the Patriots winning Super Bowl. So Stafford's going to do that as well.
Let me stop you right there. Have you, has Scooter E. Neal III ever worn a scuba suit on any occasion?
Ask Scooter E. Neal III if he ever swam more than 10 feet before in his life. The answer is no.
The answer is no.
Okay. I am not a water person, which is pretty remarkable that I enjoyed the cruise so much because I don't like jumping pools. I don't either. I don't try to. Yeah. I don't try to swim in pools or in lakes or rivers or oceans for that matter. I like being around them and near them, but I'm not a swimming person. I took a swimming lesson once in my late 20s, and I had to leave for Royal Spring Training. So I never took the final test where you jump into the pool and swim to the other side. And we were having trouble up until that point because the instructor was looking at me going, "You have perfect form, but you're absolutely not moving anywhere." I was just treading water with this perfect form, and we were trying to figure out why I could not move forward. So that was one issue we were trying to deal with. I could blow bubbles. I could float my back. I could do a dead man's crawl. But in terms of just a general swimming stroke and making progress that way, we were still trying to figure that one out before I had to go to spring training that year, and I never revisited it. So no, I'm not a big swimmer, so I don't need a scuba diving suit.
I'm glad I asked. All right,
never too late.
The question on the table is Bears fans want to believe that Bears weather is going to be key. The question is whether it really is, because historically the truth is the Bears have lost a lot of playoff games at home in cold weather. They really have. I mean, obviously 85, they were very good. They were dominant. They've lost a bunch, and I think it's a little bit dangerous to assume that the Rams are going to curl up in the fetal position in what's supposed to be pretty bitter cold. I think the wind chill is going to be well below zero is what they're saying.
That's the chance, yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out whether that's a trap that Bears fans are falling into because they like saying Bears weather so much. I love cold weather games just because I like the aesthetic. But I think it can affect passing games, right? If it's windy and the Rams have a very good one. But obviously the Bears have counted on eventually winning games with their passing game too, as good as their running game has been.
And they're talking about the wind's going to gust up to about 20 miles an hour on Sunday. So,
right.
So that could be an issue, but it didn't hurt. It didn't stop. It didn't stop Caleb in the Week 17 victory over the Packers when he threw that walk-off shot to DJ Moore in a 30-mile-an-hour wind. So it just depends how you handle it, man. Yeah, I'm worried about this. My Bear fan friends are all geeking out over the weather thing. You know, they're talking about how the Rams are practicing in 70-degree weather.
And that's true.
Meanwhile, Ben Johnson Ben Johnson's been having the team outdoors all week without heaters. You know, it's been getting down into the mid to upper 20s, and so apparently they're going to be ready. But even Grady Jarrett's like, screw that, man. It gets down to a certain level of temperature. I'm putting on a face mask. I'm wearing gloves. Yeah. Screw that being tough stuff. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, he was like, oh, it's going to be cold and sunny. He was like, whoop-de-damn-do, Yeah, it could play factor on playing conditions. Both teams have to deal with it. Stafford's played in NFC North. He's played in cold weather before. I'm trying to call Brad Biggs' column here, but my computer's acting up. But I think he said Stafford's played in 18 games when the temperature's been 40 and lower than that, and he's like 8-10.
8-10.
And he's actually in Green Bay a few years ago. He actually threw for 520 yards in a game that started at 31 degrees at kickoff. So I don't think this is going to be like a deciding factor.
No, here's
that some people believe.
Let me throw this into the mix, because I mean, people say, well, you can play for the Rams, but you could have grown up in, Chicago. You could have grown up in Wisconsin or whatever. But what I will say is, I think the human body is such that you do kind of get accustomed to certain things, right? So if you're practicing regularly in 65 degrees, I don't care what you say, I think there is a jolt a little bit to suddenly playing in brutal cold. And I think that may be a bit of an advantage for the Bears, that they have been practicing purposely outdoors without heaters for a while. Just on the repetition of it, even if you grew up in northern climates and played football growing up in the cold, you could lose a little something if you're practicing in much more favorable conditions. I think that's possible. I'm not saying it's the difference, but I think anytime this has come up historically with the Vikings back in the day, other teams, I do think you do kind of it takes a while to get acclimated if for months, no matter where you came from, you're practicing in 70-degree weather.
Yeah, and ESPN had a story earlier this week, and he talked to the Giants field goal kicker. I can't remember his name, but they had to play a cold weather game in Green Bay. And he was talking about how they went out on the field before the game. Let's go for a walk, Let's get acclimated to the cold weather. So they're out walking around. They realized that the Packers weren't outside walking around like they were. The Packers were inside where it was warm.
Right.
So he was like, it can be a psychological thing, I think. It could play in your mind a little bit, thinking, I got to be tough because it's going to be cold.
Right.
I got to be tough because it's going to be cold. And you think you're doing all these things, and, it ends up being worthless. Taking a walk in cold weather, that's just kind of eye candy for yourself before you go have to play the real game. So, it could be a pain in the butt for both teams to deal with, but can it be to decide? Now, if the wind's blowing 30 miles an hour and the kicking game is just destroyed because of it, that could be an issue.
Absolutely, yeah. One or two plays can make that difference.
It makes for a great backdrop. And Bears fans going to be out of their minds. They're going to be, full on Southern comfort by the time the kickoff comes, and they're going to be nice and toasty warm. And but it's going to come down to executing on the field, no matter what the conditions are.
What is? Let's finish up with some Vikings. We've had plenty of Vikings quarterback talk this week with a number of people, but not with you. So, what is your recommend? It sounds like they understand they're going to have to go out and get another QB. But the question is, who's gettable? That's realistic. That would be a reasonable switch if, for whatever reason, McCarthy doesn't do the job well enough, or Parrish the Thought continues to be hurt. Give me a couple names that you think are realistic that you believe the Vikings should be considering.
Well, I had a big discussion with this on Michael Rand's Daily Delivery a couple of days ago, and we were looking at three options for how the Vikings could proceed. One is the most harsh, which is punt JJ. Two would be, well, actually, 1 and 3 are kind of similar, because 2 would be finding a stopgap for a year. And that would bring Carson Wentz back into the mix. That would mean maybe a conversation with Aaron Rodgers, maybe a conversation with Joe Flacco. The other option would be, because I think if the Vikings call up a Malik Willis or a Marcus Mariota, and I personally like Mariota.
You have mentioned him before. Yeah,
I'd like you to come and be our quarterback next year. Well, this is their shot to be a starter.
Yep.
Especially for Willis, and they're going to want a situation where they have a clear pathway to the gig, and plus they want to be
more than 1 year
compensated for a couple of years.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're going to. It will take a great sales job by Kwesi and KLC for them to buy into that. Mariota's got to be thinking, I got one more chance to possibly cash in here. I want to pull a Darnold and get like $100 million contract, or Willis. Has been sitting biding his time with the Packers. This is a shot. I don't know if they want to come in and have to fight for a job.
That's the problem.
And not have a clear pathway. There's going to be other teams that may be willing to give those guys that instant, that automatic spot on the roster. So I keep thinking, and the more I ponder this, they have to go back to the 1 year stopgap quarterback. And hello Carson Wentz. What are you thinking, A-Rod? You want to play one more year? Who was the other third 1 year guy we were thinking about? There's three of them. But I think
not the former Ray, not the who you just mentioned him, not Methuselah, the guy who was he with Cleveland most recently? Who are we thinking of, Gaardsy?
Flacco. No, I wasn't really thinking Flacco. I wasn't really thinking Flacco, to be honest with you.
No, I don't think you can do Flacco.
But I think the 1 year stopgap, because now the thing is, Dan, this is JJ's third year. This is JJ's third year. You don't know what the hell you have in the kid yet.
How about Phillip? Hold on, stop. Take a breath. How about Phillip Rivers? He's only 44.
Well, he'd have time to get in shape.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. He's still got an arm.
Yeah, apparently he's a great guy. I would just like to be near him when he's talking trash.
Yeah, he does.
It's an art form in order to talk trash without swearing.
Did you see, by the way, I just had Gaardsy check it, the over-under on Puka Nacua receptions and yards for Sunday? Have you read it?
I'm going to guess 8.5 and 110.
That's low. 12 receptions, 175 yards. That's the over/under in those two classic categories. That's disrespect on the Bears secondary right there.
I take the under still, especially if there's going to be some wins.
I might have exaggerated that a little bit. Yeah, that's just.
Oh, you might have exaggerated. Not surprised.
Not surprised, is it? Somebody's throwing out. Dan Winnesota's throwing out the name of Deshaun Watson. My God, I don't.
If I answer that question, it's going to be the FCC violation. Yeah. So I'm just going to kind of let that one dissipate into the ether.
What's the Sunday column?
There is none Sunday column.
What the hell is that all about? Another Sunday off?
Well, I'm on Olympic preview duty right now. I didn't realize how many curling clubs there are in the Twin Cities. I've been going to curling clubs, talking to USA Carlos. I interviewed the Peterson sisters yesterday at the St. Paul Curling Club, and this morning at 7 a.m. I was at Frogtown Curling Club, which I didn't know existed, talking to Danny Casper and his team for the Olympics. And then Sunday I've got an appointment with Corey Dropkin from Duluth as I'm assembling these previews, man. So because I got to do all the curlers, and so we have men's curling, women's curling. I have mixed doubles. That's Corey Dropkin and Corey Teese, both from Duluth. And then I'm doing women's hockey, so I'm going to spend a lot of time with the Frost next week. You'll probably see my name in a couple of Frost columns.
Nice.
Because I'll probably be in with them as as I do interviews with them leading up into the Olympics. But I'm probably going to write there'll probably be some sort of Jesse Diggins story out there. There may be a Lindsey Vonn story out there too. So these people are all leaving. Like the mixed doubles curlers are leaving January 24th, and the regular curlers are leaving on January 30th. So time is of the essence as far as getting these interviews done and starting to crank out some of this stuff.
Yeah, there's no question about that. But no one's going right from the Strip to the Olympics this year.
No, we're not covering it. It was very cost prohibitive. The cost of sending one person was much more than it was in Beijing.
Plus, you'd have to leave your underwear. I don't even think it's legal to leave your underwear in Italy. I think that's against the law.
But the thing is, though, the temptation would be to restock with fine Italian underwear.
Wow, that's a good point. That's the finest underwear you can get.
I probably would, since there's no COVID, I probably would not bring a lot of underwear and buy underwear while I'm there, and I would actually bring it back.
How about Jameis Winston? Interesting name.
It would be entertaining. His press conferences would be hilarious.
Yeah. He can throw 5 picks and 5 touchdowns. Same game.
He would be the guy, actually, if JJ had a Buffalo training camp, he wouldn't mind being the understudy or a backup to him.
That's probably
if JJ actually wanted to do it.
You might be right. On that note, we'll let you go, and we'll chat next week.
Sounds like a plan. Thanks for having me.
Thanks as always. Lavelle Neal III. We've got a full 30 minutes yet to come. I got one other nugget that I found very interesting, and you could even say to a large extent promising regarding one of our favorite local franchises. We'll get into that and who knows what else next. Gaardsy, do you have any interest in reacquiring one of the best scoring big men, especially from the outside, in the National Basketball Association?
I would love to have Luka back here.
Well, that might be a bit of a reach.
However,
However,
Garza?
I don't know how much he's playing for these days. By the way,
I
look
think
up
he's playing.
the Celtics in the Eastern Conference standings.
As of like
Aren't
2
they
days
in the
ago,
top four?
A couple days ago, they were the 2 seed, if I remember
they
right.
were briefly the 2. I think they've slid from that.
They have not.
They're still the 2?
They are a half game. New York's lost a couple in a row, so the Knicks have slid back behind them.
Without their best player, not for a game,
Right.
like in the case of the Wolves taking care of the Bucks, but for the whole season thus far.
Celtics culture. And they have a lot of good players.
They got good players, but they got, I think, a really good coach, too. No, Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah.
Just might be gettable right now.
I know. Crazy.
It's absolute craziness in New York. And it's ironic because Tibbs was the guy who historically has been viewed as, does he love Cat or not love Cat? And Cat doesn't love him. Well, the current coach of the New York Knicks used to be he was an assistant in Golden State, correct?
Yeah, are we thinking about Mike Brown?
Mike Brown.
Yeah. He was the coach of the Cavs with LeBron years ago. He was with Sacramento.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So, Mike Brown, you know the bit, like, there will be coaches who will generalize after games and say, we got guys who didn't get back. We had guys who didn't rebound. We didn't have good effort. But they rarely get specific on who. Well, 2 games ago, Brown goes out of his way to savage, by name, Karl Anthony Towns for falling on a drive to the basket and not getting up and not getting back on defense even across the midcourt line enough to where he could have gotten a long rebound, according to Mike Brown. Now, Brown actually exaggerated a little bit because he did get back up. The problem is he just didn't run after he did. And it was not a good-looking play at all, right? But what made it interesting is it's rare for a coach to call out a star to that extent. Most people, though, might have let it go, said, all right, maybe Brown was cranky. The fact is Towns didn't get back, and it is annoying sometimes, and he just felt like letting him have it. Then your guy, Day-Day, Draymond Green, cheap shots him.
I saw that.
Grabs him by the leg, right, basically?
Yep.
And did you see what Brown's reaction was after the game?
No, I didn't see that part.
I probably should have asked you to get the audio. I'll paraphrase it. That's Draymond, that's kind of Draymond being Draymond. That really didn't bother me as much as Cat getting his 5th foul not long after that. So back to back, you've got a coach hammering one of his 2 star players, really, right? The big player in the trade that yielded us Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo. So there's wild speculation in New York about, is this Brown's effort to play tough guy with Cat? Is this a sign that he's all but gone? Because by the way, there's a lot of Giannis steam to him ending up in New York. Other people say Miami. Who's to say? But I'm fascinated by the fact that Karl Anthony Towns, a very good player, seems to be under siege from his head coach on consecutive days. So if we want him back, then we'd have to match up the salaries.
Yeah.
But here's the question. Would you be willing to give up Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo?
I don't think I would.
For Karl Anthony Towns now. And
No.
I mentioned this, some of it, I didn't get into much depth on the Enough Said show, but we did allude to, we had a shorter Wolves segment tonight, I think regular time on Fox 9. Is it 9:30 or is it 10? I think it might be 10.
Okay.
Whatever. Check your local listings, and you could always DVR it and get it via Fox 9 local as well. But here's what stands out to me right now, and maybe it's more of a compliment to Randall than it is any kind of a shot at Cat. And I have to thank NBA Sirius guy Justin. I think it's Justin Termini.
Termini, yeah.
Yeah. Who he kind of laid this out a little bit. That right now, here are some key stats from Julius Randle at this point in the season. Shooting, just from the floor, 49.4%. Karl Anthony Towns, 46.7%. free throw attempts per game. Julius Randle, 6.5. Cat, 6.6. So basically a wash.
Yep.
Rebounds, that's the one advantage for Cat. He's averaging 11. Randle, 7. Assists, Randle, 5 a game. Cat, 2.9.
Wow.
Scoring average, Julius Randle, 22.2. Karl Anthony Towns, 20.9. Right now, it's not at all crazy to say Julius Randle is the better player. And remember, we got 2 players for Karl Anthony Towns. Now, how much of this is obviously Brunson? The ball's in Brunson's hands a lot. The way they run their offense, that's part of it. And you can say, well, some of this isn't on Cat. Some of it's the way really the last 2 coaches have used him. Who's to say? I don't watch the Knicks enough anymore to be able to answer that question. But those comparative numbers fascinated me. And I think he had, I don't have them in front of me, I think Termine even had like effective field goal percentage. Randle is ahead of Cat. And the 3-point shooting percentage, it was, I believe, pretty close to a wash. I think Randle was 34. I don't think Cat's shooting as high a 3-point percentage as he has historically, at least so far this season. So when you look at what exactly has been going on with the Wolves, I do think we've seen an ascension of the Randle role. And the production, that's good production. It really is. Basically shooting 50% from the floor, 6.5 free throw attempts a game, and 5 assists.
That's the best part.
Those are great numbers, and 22.2 points a game, which I believe has to be higher than last year. You can double check on that. And it almost feels like Cat's fading a little bit. How much of that is the way he's used? How much of it is he's just not playing as well? I don't know. But now he's got his head coach all over him. I mean, name me another coach in the league who, after Draymond Green cheap shots one of his best players, writes it off as, I guess that wasn't great. I'm more bothered by the fact that he picked up his 5th foul. It's very strange to me, because wouldn't most coaches do the automatic? Well, that's inexcusable. We can't have that happen. Draymond can't be allowed to continue to do it. Now, he coached Draymond and may like him, but I'm just saying that the Cat story has been kind of interesting most recently to follow from afar here. And originally, everybody agreed that Cat was the best player in that trade. He may still be long-term the best player in the trade. But right now, Julius Randle looks like the best player in that trade.
And Randle's averaging basically 3.5 more points a game than he did last year.
Yeah, and that's significant.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
A significant increase over season to season.
Shooting
correct?
percentages are about the same.
Yeah.
He's averaging an extra rebound a game from assists a year ago. I'm sorry, an extra assist. The rebounding numbers are pretty much flat, but it's an extra assist.
Yeah.
So the offense, the ball's getting to him.
Yes.
He's taking a couple of more shots a game.
But it would indicate, the assist total would indicate the notion that once he gets the ball, it gets sticky, that it still might from time to time, but that could no longer be said as being the constant with Randle if you're averaging 5 assists a game. That must mean, by definition, you are distributing much better, and you're not just sort of, plodding, holding on to the ball, backing down, trying to score. He's giving up the ball and effectively getting it to other people.
The only other year he has with a higher assist average right now would have been 2021 with the Knicks. He averaged 6 assists for the season. And this is the second highest. I mean, his assist totals have kind of fluctuated between 4 and 6 the last few years, but he's playing great. And he doesn't
and
play.
Dante's playing
great. He doesn't play defense enough consistently.
But neither does Cat.
Cat doesn't. We know that. However, Anthony's kind of doing his Cat leadership. The same thing he did with Cat, he's doing it on Randle. We're basically saying, we tell him all the time he can be one of the best defenders in the league when he wants to be. And he did it against Wemby. Obviously, last year in the postseason, he guarded LeBron a fair amount.
Yeah.
He guarded Luka a little bit.
By the way, who else did we get in that deal? Or what did the draft pick turn into as part of that deal?
It's got to be Berenger, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Who we just unleashed on the Milwaukee Bucks, and they're still reeling. They still haven't recovered from our defensive big man. They're still booing.
They're still
exactly
booing
right.
in Milwaukee.
Now, Rudy's back, right?
Yes.
So will Berenger or Berenger, I've heard 19 pronunciations, including that from Mike Nori. Will he still get an opportunity to play, or is that gone now that Rudy's back?
Probably pretty much gone, but they might get him a few minutes tonight.
Yeah. You saw Cat just sold his house in Medina. Was it $5.2 million or $4.2 million?
I thought it was 4 point something.
Might be 4.2. Yeah.
It's a nice place.
Looks like a very nice place.
Yeah.
I'm assuming not that far from Flip's old place. It's Medina. Flip was a big Medina guy, as I recall, was he not?
I think he was one of the first.
Let's come back and wrap things up.
Show Wrap is presented by American Pressure, commercial-grade pressure washer since 1975.
It's the bumper-to-bumper Show Wrap.
I want to thank an outstanding array of guests today. An awkward segment with Carl Gerbschmidt today. If you missed it, you can podcast it later. Let's just say there was... there were several repeats of a recorded announcement that might have broken the flow of the prediction segment, but I will let you judge for yourself if you did indeed miss it. Also, Ben Gessling joined at 4:30 as usual, and Lavelle Neal III, nicknamed Scooter, we found out last week, joined at 5:30 tonight. Fan and Demand is going to follow us as is customary. Don't forget, tonight on the flagship, FM 100.3 The Fan and the iHeart Radio app, Timberwolves channel, your Minnesota Timberwolves in Houston, gun belts tight to take on the Rockets. That is scheduled for 8:15 broadcast right here on The Fan. It's the second game of the doubleheader. I think it's Philly and Cleveland right now. It's the national doubleheader. The bad news is Anthony Edwards is not available. Maybe we're so fearless and so excited about the way we played last time it won't matter. Rudy Gobert is indeed back. Enough said tonight. It'll be on Fox 9, it'll be after Gopher men's hockey. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That's the plan. So it's a little loose depending on when that game ends. I'm hoping 10-ish right in there. Sort of like last week, there's an A section, and then there's a toy department section of the program as well. On the Plus, I have no idea if it's on at 7:30 this week.
I believe it is.
Usual time. Sermons is scheduled for a 2-hour tour on Sunday. I'm sure we will review the two games Saturday. So the Saturday games are, the nightcap is Seattle and San Francisco, correct?
Yes.
And the first game is Buffalo at Denver. And then, so we'll review those, maybe preview the Sunday games, get into what else has been going on over the course of the weekend from a toy department standpoint. We are working on MLK Day, at least on this show. You'll be on your way or already on location, right, following Golden Gopher women's basketball.
I will be between Seattle and Eugene.
Oh, okay. So it's a two-step.
Yeah, Seattle, Washington on Sunday, Oregon on Wednesday.
So I think Blakemore will be with me Sunday and then again on Monday. I'm assuming we'll have Johnny Athletic on Monday and who knows what else, but we will be working on the holiday. I'm not sure. Are the shows working? I guess it all depends on the show.
As far as I know, everybody is.
Everybody's working?
Yeah. That's how we roll around here.
Well, then we get, the beauty of it is working on it is then you get another day.
That's what they tell us.
That's what they say, at least. That's the way it's supposed to go. So that's the lineup tonight and over the course of what's supposed to be an incredibly frigid weekend, right? A lot of below zero readings. It's basically bear weather in Minnesota. Or maybe it's Minnesota weather in Chicago as well, depending on your point of view. Thanks for watching today. Thank you indeed for listening, and we will talk to you Sunday morning at 9.
If you ever go to Houston, got to walk right, got to keep your hands deep in your pocket and your gun belt tight.